Welcome, CMI family. It's so good to see all of you guys here today. As you guys know, we're headed into the Thanksgiving season, and I just want to say, first and foremost, how thankful we are for each and every one of you and the incredible work that you're doing in your communities. We're so grateful that you guys are part of the CMI family. The best part of the CMI family is all of you, and we're so grateful for you. And today is part two in our series on donor connections. And last month we had a spotlight on the work of Mission Increase. And if you haven't gotten the chance to view that, you can find it on the Marriage Initiative YouTube channel. And today, in part two of our series on donor connections, we get to hear from Amy Gilford on fundraising events and Dave Jackson on giving campaigns. And so we're going to start out today by posting a poll in the chat. And so the question we're asking today is, have you hosted a fundraising event, a giving campaign, both, or not yet? Again, that's, have you hosted a fundraising event, a giving campaign, both, or not yet? So you can answer that. And while you're posting that in the chat, just a quick heads up today, just want to let you know that the session is being recorded, and I'm going to send a follow-up email next week with the link to the recording. And also want to let you know that there will be a Q&A session at the end of our call today where you guys will have an opportunity to ask any questions that you might have. So Dennis, would you like to pray for us today?
Sure, why not? All right. Dear God, thank you for loving us like you do. Thank you for sending your Son out of the abundance of that love. Thank you for calling us to this ministry of love. Lord, we ask you to be with us in this hour session where we learn about fundraising. Lord, you are the master, the keeper of cattle on 1,000 hills. We know you have a ton of abundance, and we know that you want to empower our ministries. Teach us how to do that. Be with these speakers. Be with us. Help us learn what needs to be learned, and help us be faithful servants of you in everything we do. We ask this in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Dennis, so much for praying for us. So without further ado, we're going to dive right in today. And so first we get to hear from Amy Gilford. She is the executive director of the Maryland Marriage Initiative, and Amy is continuing the work of her parents, and they started this work more than 20 years ago. And Amy and her team are just making an amazing impact on the state of Maryland. And Amy's had a great success with her annual fundraising event, and today she's going to share her expertise on fundraising events. And I think she just came off of her recent fundraising event, so this is all just fresh for her. So Amy, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. So yes, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. If there's a postpartum set of emotions that go with having a fundraiser, I think I'm still in that right now, as is Bill on the phone, who is our co-founder, and my dad, who has joined us. So 2 weeks ago, we're still coming down from the excitement, but still in the throes of doing all the work that goes when you follow up and thank your donors for being there. And the next slide shows a picture of our event that night. We had we have great photographers there, and you can see this view. We hold this event in a local church facility it's the local Catholic church that built a new church, and so their former facility is now an event venue in our community, and we're one of few people that they allow to use their facility. And so it's a wonderful relationship that we have with them, and we are so thankful to be in there. So with the time that we have today, the next slide, please, just want to cover a couple key elements that make our dinner, where we anchor what we do, how we do it. And I'm just going to give you a high level view of this. And if anybody wants more, I'm happy to share further. But 4 key areas I'm going to briefly go over and give you a picture of how we do what we do. And hopefully the Lord will enable us to keep moving forward. So the first area is the purpose, our purpose of why do we do this? And that's my next slide. We do this for a couple of reasons, and I didn't originally put anchored in glorifying God in the text up there, but I thought I don't want you all to assume that our purpose is to glorify God in all that we do. I wanted to put it in writing too, so that you know that while this can be a bit of a technical talk, because it's just the details of how you put an event together, but without the Lord, there's really no purpose in this. So we want to do everything we do to keep our mission and vision focused on pleasing Him. But practically speaking, we're raising funds. And in this format, we do not have any sponsors. So it's not an event sponsored by, it's not a signature event presented by. This is a fundraiser, a benefit brought to the community by MREC as our gift to you to learn more about what we're doing and to give you an opportunity to to participate in the things that God is doing. So yes, number one, we are trying to raise funds. And number two, we are updating our current donors because we have a high return attendance at our event. And so they want to know what's been going on. And then we also use that as an opportunity to educate our guests. And we have a program that includes a lot of bullet points, updates, as well as our goals and what we're trying to do next year and the money that we're trying to raise that night and how they can become a part of that. And then as they leave the night, we are, of course, thanking them. And we hope that we have energized them to get involved in something really neat and important that's happening in the community, making a difference in many lives and giving them an opportunity to be a part of the team and to be a part of the solution of what God's doing to strengthen marriages and families in our community. And so the second reason why we do this event, that's the next slide, please, the second way that we do this event, I should say, is we have divided this up into key roles and responsibilities. And I will tell you, we've been doing this particular version of our event for about 8 years now. And we have had some training by fundraising masterminds and Jim Dempsey, who some of you Family Life people may know is associated with Crew. And he is their development officer and has been in that role for many years. So this is a form of a vision dinner. It's not a banquet. Banquet is like a dead noun to me. I think of high schoolers getting their trophies or little leaguers getting their trophies in an event and everybody gets one. But this is more of an active, descriptive, visionary event that they're getting to be a part of problem and solution. So we never call it a banquet. It's always a dinner, a vision dinner. And these key roles and responsibilities are what makes it happen. The dinner coordinator is our leader. I hire that person based on their skills to rally the troops, mobilize people, and keep things on track throughout the 6 to 12 months that we're preparing for this event. The event begins with a table brainstorm event where we're thinking about who could our table hosts be, because that is what this is all based on, not sponsors, but it's people. And that's my last area, the table host coordinator. These are the people that bring their friends and invite their colleagues to come and learn more. So the dinner coordinator coordinates really these other 3 areas. The volunteers, this is highly volunteer driven. From the time you first step in the door, you're greeted, from when you register and check in and turn around and you want to know where to go, there's people there to greet them and help them to their seat. And the volunteers are also an important part leading up to this, making phone calls, inviting people, preparing decorations, themes, envelopes, all the things that greet to create this ambiance of a wow feeling. And that's my vision, not just, banquets and plasticware and things like that, but something that is just a real amazing experience from the first thing they set foot in the door. And one of my donors told me following our event last week, we saw them at another event, and they said to us, as soon as we walked in the door, we just felt the presence of God. And I was so thankful to hear that, because we weren't pumping them for information. That was just their impression that they remembered to tell us a couple of weeks later. So that helps set the tone when they feel Holy Spirit presence, greeting them and helping to orchestrate the event. Registration is all done online for us. We don't send out, we used to pre-COVID, we used to send just very formal letters of invitation with a return envelope and a gift card, a card to fill out your name back in. No more. Everything is digital and online through our contact relationship management system. And so the registration coordinator and our table host coordinator work very closely together because these are all volunteers gathering people to help in all these key roles. Our board does have a responsibility in this area. I know most of you have the opportunity and privilege to work with the board of directors. Of course, that is one of their key responsibilities after upholding and protecting the mission and the vision. But our board members host a table, and they're also charged with finding someone else to host a table also. The language for me is easy, and so I try to help them, and we give them a script. We're not asking people to come for a free meal. That is not the language. It's come as our guest to learn about the mission and vision of MREC and what's going on, and learn how you can be a part of the amazing things that God is doing. So there will be an opportunity for you to financially support the cause when you come. So they're not surprised when they get there. We've all had those surprise meetings. We're invited someplace and you're like, oh, you're supposed to buy something or sell something or sign up for something. We're very clear about that right up front. I see this question here. You may cover that for your donor list. What CMS? Okay, we use Neon Contact Relationship Management System, Neon CRM. They also have, as a part of their package, Neon Pay, which is our financial gateway that we use instead of like a bank or PayPal, because those credit card fees, we have to build a percentage into our budget every year to account for online giving. But if you don't, it's a trade-off. We do give people an opportunity to cover their financial gifts online, and many do. But if you don't put that there, you're less likely to get the donation because very few people are going to send a check in the mail later on. I still do have monthly donors that send us that paper check very faithfully every month. And I'm just amazed, but that's their way of staying connected to the cause. So table host coordinators are charged with, these are our people gatherers. So when I think of either donors that already understand and support the cause, invite your friend to come and learn more as your guest. They don't have to pay for the meal. The meal is covered for. Just come as our guest. And they talk about why they support the mission while they're at the table. We try to equip them with a story that they can tell. So there's conversation going on, and they also want to learn the whys of people who are coming to the event that night. So all these four key areas, these are our leaders in making the event possible. Okay, you can do the next slide, please. So how has this format helped us? I have to tell you, this was a mindset shift when we first started doing that. Because most of the time when you do dinners, you have sponsors and you buy a table and then you got to fill a table. And a lot of times it's like, do me a favor, I sponsored a table and I need people to come. And in that mindset, people will often come thinking the table's paid for. I don't need to donate anything. Or they don't listen to the message in the same way and don't feel compelled to get involved because there's no really opportunity to financially put some skin in the game. So we make it very clear that this is a gift from MREC to you. And we hope that what you see and what you hear, that God will touch your heart and give you a chance to jump in and get involved. And I have been a lot of parts of this are nerve-wracking. Fundraising is nerve-wracking anyway. A friend of mine calls us professional beggars. I don't like that term. I still, you have to ask, and that's hard. But I train my mind and I try to train my board members and my other people that are helping. It is an opportunity to invest in making a difference in people's lives. And I mean that very truly. I know it's a donation. I mean, Jim and I donate, and we make that very clear that we're not asking them to do something that we're not doing ourselves. So it's do as we are, join us and be a part of the difference. That mindset, it took a while to shift to that. But what we have found in switching to this, because of our emphasis on monthly donors, we have I think we have about 90 monthly donors right now, that we have reliable income throughout the year. So even through COVID, when the world stopped and we couldn't do our dinner that year, we still had money coming in without having to bring them together to ask, for that donation, or without bringing them together to be a part of something. So this gives you peace of mind to know that you have a regular monthly income coming in. And it also gives us an opportunity to nurture those that care about the cause, to bring them in to what's happening, and also find out like what's going on in their lives, and be able to pray for their families and their needs and celebrate with them. We are regularly in touch with them, letting them know, not just once a year, but throughout the year, hey, this is what's going on. Just praise the Lord. Thank you to you because of this testimony. We got one in the mail last week in response to an email that we sent out. And the response was not really directly related to the content, but this couple said, hey, we just wanted to let you know we are so thankful for you guys. We came to one of your classes a couple years ago, and I honestly didn't think that our marriage was going to make it. And now we are doing great. We are continuing to look for things and invest in things. And we attribute it to that class at our church, people. Most of us are serving church people. And sometimes church people are cautious about getting involved in marriage stuff because it's for the people that have problem marriages. And we all know that that's not the case. We need to talk more about marriage enrichment in our churches and norm that conversation. So those are the blessings. So we have her permission to share that, with others. And that's what we will do. So if you're a donor, look what you're making happen. You don't even know these people, but you're saving their marriage and their future generation of children and grandchildren. So we love seeing our donors on the street, stopping them. They'll stop and talk to us. And it's kind of cool. It just makes you feel like a part of the community in a way that you would not otherwise be. So it broadens us. And now we have donations coming in from around the state to support us. It's really special to know that, that we have people that care about us. Many of our monthly donors, I've never even met them before. So it's getting bigger than, just us now. And I love to see what God is doing. This also brings us to accountability. We had a phone call 2 weeks before the dinner, and somebody called up and said, we've donated to you. We want to see what's going on. I'm like, okay, we'll sign you up. So they signed up. They were there. I haven't seen them for a while because they're a little bit older and sometimes they can't get out. But they came, they got the update. They were very happy and they made a very generous donation to the cause. So being prepared with reporting, testimonials, showing our numbers, showing what we accomplished, what our vision is for the future, and being able to quantify that and show the return, not just return on investment. That's a little technical. Some people want to see that, but most people want to see the stories and the changed lives. And this helps us make sure that we are measuring throughout the year so that we can provide that accountability for people, not only when they ask, but ahead of time before they're asking on a regular basis. Okay, next slide. So this again, is a high-level overview of what takes a lot of detail. We've honed it over the years. We have found that right now, this format covers 30% of our budget is covered by these will cover our. We got enough new monthly donors this month that will cover 30% of our budget for the coming year. The other next 30% is covered by former monthly donors that are already there, continuing to give. So that's like 2/3 of our budget. And the last third of our budget will be covered by one-time gifts, any small grants that we get, or we do have a date night fundraiser this summer. And that's how we come up with 100%. The other thing we've also learned is that people wait to the last minute to sign up for things. almost 40% of our people sign up within the last 2 weeks of an event, and it's quite maddening. But it goes back to trusting the Lord because you know they're going to come, but they don't always come on our timetable, but they do come. So I'm happy to answer any questions either now or later if anybody has anything. And I did see in the chat there were a couple things. Um, the butter, who put that in? I saw that. Is that North
Give
Carolina?
butter.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were asking about Give Butter if you've had any experience with that. And I know Charlotte Marriages has, and Jackie said that he's leaning towards it.
Yeah. I have looked at it. I only became aware of it after I saw that y'all were using it. I'm happy to, always try to learn more. I'm kind of set in what I'm doing right now and what's working for us, but I'm definitely, I definitely want to learn. I'm exploring mission increase, that we talked about last month. But I think there's lots of ways to do this and lots of groups and systems that you can use. We've had a lot of trial and error and a lot of headaches using CRMs and trying to predict what people are going to do. As well as I do, sometimes the places where you think that people are going to respond, they don't. And the places you least expect it, they do. So it all comes back to trusting the Lord and what He's doing in people's lives that we don't always see. And He's got the big picture. And this is, if I want this to go on beyond me, and I do, then we're trying to create sustainability and bring on more people for the future, not just for today and next year. So I see a couple of hands. Dennis, you're on my top left-hand corner there.
Sure. So, you said a couple things intriguing to me in terms of where this came from.
Mhm.
You mentioned you've been doing this format about 8 years, and you also said you received training from Fundraising Masterminds and Jim Dempsey.
Yeah.
Um, and I just a few months ago became aware of Fundraising Masterminds, and
Mhm.
I've signed up for the current cohort myself. I'm
Yeah.
curious, when did you go through that training, and how valuable did you find it to be?
Yeah, and I'm happy to talk with you, and Bill and I are happy to talk with you separately about that as well. Probably so we've been working with Jim Dempsey since 2016
Okay.
because he trained the local FCA organization in how to do that format. And Bill, you were on the board at the time. And so when we
Okay.
saw them get the training, we said, we hired him to work with us for 3 years and he stepped back and we created some of our systems then that we're still using. And then 2 years ago, when he started working with Jason, can't think of his name, they've continued to work and build the fundraising masterminds. And so I did go through that 1 or 2 years, and I didn't feel like I needed to continue to do that. So it's gotten very expensive. I was looking at that today. And they've also added something to that was the Ministry Sync platform, which allows you to register people for events that have become kind of pricey for us. It's like $1,000, a little over that a year, but they built that into the registration. So it could be very valuable, especially for bigger organizations, I think, because we've been able to figure out that ourselves. But I would love to talk to you separately about that. So I'm
Thank you.
glad you're going to do it. And, maybe we could be helpful to each other. I'd still like to learn more, but it became a monthly thing that I just didn't need anymore. But the foundation, very good.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it sounds like you learned it back in 2016. You've been incorporating it. You went
Hmm.
through it a couple of years ago, so it looks like you have.
Yeah.
It seems like you have received a lot of value
Yes.
out of it. So,
I love Jim Dempsey. Um, and like I said, I'm happy to share a couple of different things that we learned from that privately. Um, just to give you a heads up of, how it looks and what you might expect.
thank you.
You're welcome, Mike.
Yeah, I was wondering, do you have some way to check with the people who come there, how their marriage is doing, and
Mm.
maybe a way to offer them some help? Or do you even think that's an appropriate thing to do at something like that?
No, that's a great question. We have learned, and again, a lot of this comes back to our training from Jim Dempsey, to keep the fundraiser focused on the fundraiser. We have had people invite friends in the past who have struggling marriages, and it's not an event geared towards a struggling relationship. It's about sharing the victories of, for example, Adventures in Marriage, taking that class or some other event that we've done and the impact of your support so we can continue to offer that class. What they will get if they're there, they will see coming events. So we do include coming events, so they'll have that there. Our website's up 24/7. We mentioned that as an opportunity to support the cause so that we can keep these request lines open around the clock. So it's there to raise funds, not to do programming per se. We don't do auctions either as a part of this. It just keeps it very simple on the heart message, focus on the results and how you can get involved and make it. We are in and out of there in 2 hours and 15 minutes. So it's very structured, intentional. And people know, like when I give them testimony time, they have 3 minutes and I have to approve it ahead of time. So there's just like no rambling preachers allowed. Sorry to preacher. My son is one. So, but you know what I'm saying? Everybody's story is amazing and they want to tell it all. They can't because we have the attention span of a goldfish. So you're on, you're off, and people are grateful for that. So yes, Elder Natalie and then Bruce.
Good afternoon, everybody. I was the one that originally asked about the Give Butter CRM and donation process because we're using it right now. But if you guys know anything that is more nonprofit friendly, not expensive, because Give Butter is asking for either I give them, I think it's 3.2 or 2.9%, or allow them to ask the donors for tips. But moving forward beyond Give Butter, well, what would be the best steps to take to launch a new ministry and do fundraising?
I'm going to send that back to Steph. I mean, that's like a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
I'm happy to share my experience with you and we can set up a time to talk if you want to do that.
That would be great. I would love to.
Okay.
Yeah, I can connect you, Natalie and Amy, so that you can have that conversation. And Natalie, if you want to meet with us here at Marriage Initiative, we'll set up a time to meet with you and talk through those things.
That would be great. I think I need to do both. Our goal is to launch in February. And so we're ready to go. We just need a couple of more financing and donors. We don't have any of those things. So
yeah, if you don't mind emailing me, I'll set up a connection email between you and Amy, and then we can set something up where we can meet and talk about those things.
I would love to. I'll do that. Thank you both.
You're welcome. And Bruce?
Yeah, hi, Amy. We haven't done anything like that really. When you first started your very first one, I mean, you looked like you had like over 200 people there in that first picture we saw. How many did you have the first time and how did that go?
We have tracked all that. I've tracked attendance. I've tracked average donations. I've tracked when they register. So I am tracking all that. It seems in our community, like we are not in a San Antonio or Charlotte or, right in the bottom. We average around 225 people every year. A couple of times, like on the anniversary years, 2015, when we turned 15 and when we turned 20, then we were, around 300 people. And we just can't get there right now. That is the next step that I want to go to because I really want this to be able to fully fund us. But our donations have been increasing. We are definitely increasing, like 15% donations year over year over the last couple of years. Since post-COVID, we've done better after COVID than we were doing before COVID. And I think maybe a lot of people are experiencing that. So we don't even have a facility in our county to get much bigger than we're doing right now. So our issue becomes like, what happens if you go out of county, even though we're serving other counties? So we're having those conversations now. But it's getting the right people there, and your table hosts are key to that. And I'm happy to talk with you further. And Dennis maybe could share, as he goes through the next cohort. But your table hosts are the key because they're going to know people that you don't know and open up doors to new relationships. I say most of our donors that we have right now are no longer first generation donors like when Bill and Ann were there, but they are subsequent generations. And like I say, many of them, I don't know who they are right now. So I'm having to be intentional about figuring out who they are. So you start small and you build gradually. Bill, did you want to add anything? Because really, this was your inspiration initially to move us from the banquet and sponsorship type of event to what we are doing now, because you were the one that got initially exposed to Jim Dempsey and crew.
Well, Amy, you really covered all the bases. Really, I'm just going to say one thing. The year Bill Kaufman came and spoke, I think we had almost 300 people there.
Yeah.
And one of the things Jim Dempsey told us to be cautious of when you invite speakers, sometimes people come to a banquet just because of the speaker.
Yeah.
They come to hear the speaker rather than to actually find out information about what you're doing. So that's one of the things you do have to be a little bit cautious of when you think about, do you want to have a speaker, thinking that the speaker is going to bring in all that money for you, things like that. But otherwise, Amy touched all the important points about what we've done for fundraising over the years. Jim Dempsey was a big impetus for him. We learned a lot from Jim, and we've taken some of those principles and put them to good use as we have built our fundraising scheme, so to speak, for MRVC.
Yeah.
But like Amy said, we're always open to talking to you. If you have individual questions that we might help you with, we'd be more than happy to help you do the work that God has designed you to do in your marriage adventure.
Yeah. And so that's a good point. We no longer have a special speaker. Our program is our testimonials. I have 2 program testimonials and I have a donor testimonial. And then, we weave in some other things, but we keep it very boots on the ground, local. Our good speakers have had trouble bringing their information, their fun, their entertainment back to the why. We want you to support us financially. So we thought, it's really more of a detriment and a cost, an unnecessary cost. So in our promotions, we hype up, who our testimonials will be as well. Oh, the other thing we did, we have like a 7% cancellation rate, which I think is really good, especially when people aren't paying. So like 10 days out, we send a reminder and we have this sticker that we put on there and it says, "Looking forward to seeing you. Your meal has been ordered." So we will see you on the 18th. And that, it's a little in your face, but it's very clear that we're counting on you. We've tallied you, we're putting money into this. So that I think helps too. And we're nice about it.
Yeah, Amy, just kind of a follow-up to that.
Yeah.
So you're not charging any of the attendees, right? They're not, but you're hoping that that's going to pay for itself in that way, and plus in addition.
It does.
Yeah.
In cash and donations that night and in pledges, not monthly pledges, I don't count them because they're not here till they come, but we have, I don't know, a couple grand due between now and December 31st. I think it's like $72,000 that we will have in hand. We have most of it in hand now between now and December 31st. So our expenses were about 14 or 15 to put the event on. So that's a pretty good ROI. The other thing is like, so we have more new monthly donors. So we had 13 new monthly donors and 8 monthly donors who are currently donating that increased their monthly giving. So that's how you calculate that separately because you can't put that in a QuickBooks line. But we can project as we build our budget what our monthly income will be based on our monthly donors. And we have a very strong retention rate as well, too. Does that help?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, it really, you want to add to that?
Well, I got one other thing on the table hosts. I think it's really important that the table host be a person, a couple who really believes and have invested somewhat into your ministry, whatever it might be. They have a better understanding, so that we're looking to invite people. They'll invite people who are like-minded. They know they care about marriage, they care about family, and they're more likely to come at a table host request because they know they have an interest and want to be part of what you're doing.
That may take some time to get to that. So you'll get some of that. But when you first get started, Bruce, well, like Bill and Ann, we were riding Bill and Ann's integrity and credibility. So you, as the founder of the organization, people, because you ask them to do things, they will. And say, we're switching this, we're trying this. Would you come and help me do this? That will help you get started. And as time goes on, then you will make new friends and new people who will know people and so on. It's like that hair commercial and so on and so on and so on. And it duplicates and multiplies. It gets hard. I mean, let's face it. It does take energy to take care of people and to seek donations, and because you need to take care of people. And then the credit cards. I think one month we had like 15 credit cards that went crazy one month. And it takes manpower to, get all those things back online. But you get opportunities to talk to your donors, to tell them what's going on, and they're reminded, Focus on the Family, for example, is awesome, amazing. Like, we cut our teeth on Adventures in Odyssey in this house, But the local people are you guys. You're in the community, you're shopping at Aldi, you're getting gas, you're going out to dinner. I mean, that's the people that you're doing life with that are going to have an opportunity to be a part of your mission, rather than wait for the federal government or some big grantor, Bezos, or, I don't want that. I want local people. I want a lot of local people that care about the cause. I mean, I'll take those large donations. I'm ready for a yes if somebody will offer that to me. Like, I was hoping we'd get that federal grant. We didn't. That's okay. But we still had enough people that already believed in us that we were able to keep going and not drop a beat. So,
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Amy. And we'll have time that you guys can ask Amy more questions after we're finished with Dave, too.
Dave, you should have yanked me out of there,
Oh,
Steph. I'm
it's
sorry.
fine. It's fine. We'll have plenty of time. I just want to
Okay.
get Dave's presentation in before the end of the hour.
Yeah.
If we go over the hour, that'll be totally fine. It'll be totally fine. People can hop off if they need to at 1.
Okay.
First of all, I just want you to know, Amy, we're so grateful for you taking the time to share with us. This was really valuable information, and I know that we've had a lot of interest in fundraising masterminds, so I'm glad that you were able to, address this and talk about this just so that we could learn from your experience. So thank you so much. And next, we have the honor to hear from Dave Jackson, and Dave Jackson serves as the Executive Director of Friends of the Family in Corvallis, Oregon. And Dave and his team there in Oregon have had a great success with giving campaigns. And we're so thankful that we get to hear from him today. So Dave, whenever you are ready, sir.
Thank you. And thank you, Amy. That was awesome. We believe in in the Northwest, it's not directly associated with high schools. We call them banquets still out here. And that was really funny. Friends of the Family, for those of you who don't remember, has been around since 1994. So I came in 2016, 22 years into the ministry's existence, and I acquired the tradition of annual fundraising banquets. And we continued that, taught a lot from actually the Mission Increase Foundation. They have a little booklet that probably it's a lot of the same kind of similar concepts that Amy was just sharing with us all. They talk about doing a dinner like this with the table hosts and casting vision and all that. When COVID hit, Friends of the Family had to, I'll go ahead and use the word pivot, like I have resistance to that, but we pivoted, as so many of us had to, right? And we didn't do a banquet for 3 years in a row. the traditional way that we had been doing it. And so we started experimenting with instead of a one-time banquet event in the spring, how could we launch a spring campaign that could touch people in similar ways, hopefully, raise money in similar ways, hopefully, stir hearts, right? And so I'm going to just share some reflections here in the next few minutes, um, what we learned. So some key differences in our experiences, as we just heard, banquets or vision dinners or galas, whatever you want to call it, relationship driven, high touch, emotionally powerful, a one night high impact experience. When those are done well, there's nothing quite like it for those who are in attendance. Campaigns, on the other hand, there's some more flexibility, story driven, they're scalable. Um, Sustained communication and broader reach over time. Those are some of the big picture differences. Timetable related, of course, the one evening only, 3 to 6, 9 perhaps months of planning to do it well, which for startups, that's kind of mind boggling. But it's scalable. Banquets or dinners are scalable. You start out with wherever you need to, right? But the giving is concentrated on that night with short follow-up window. Campaigns are 2 to 12 week in duration. Giving is spread throughout the campaign. Can be scheduled anytime. We have a spring campaign. We're just launching our end of the year campaign here in the next week or two, and there or fiscal close of your year. Structurally, banquets are in person. There's a program that includes meal, speaker, stories, and an ask. Requires a venue, audio, visual, decor, catering, RSVP, volunteers. Campaigns are more print, email, video, social content, needs strong storytelling and communication plan. And it's wise to have a landing page on your website and digital giving tools. Some of the strengths. I already did that one. Did I do that one already? I already did that. Okay, so what are we really trying to do with all of these? And looks like my slide got cut off here. But core donor development goals. We want to faithfully obey God's call, always, right? Share a compelling vision for the future, raise funds for the ministry God's entrusted to us, invite people into the mission as givers, partners, prayer warriors. Stirring excitement is always a wonderful thing. Inspire visibility, awareness for the cause, build and deepen supporter relationships, celebrate the impact of generosity. And let me see if I can see yeah, what am I missing from there? Oh, glorify God. Um, this is what we're trying to accomplish with either a one evening event or spreading it out intentionally over time. So I shared a little bit about the journey. I'm going to say a little bit more. In 2018, my second year into the process as executive director, we still had a banquet, but through coaching from Mission Increase, we decided to. I'm going to stop sharing so I can see you guys better. We did a very focused effort to develop our monthly donors, and we launched it with the banquet, and then there was about 6 weeks. I think it stretched longer than that, where we followed it up with letters and emails. And I'm not sure if we had a video on that first one, but there was phone calls, there was communications with everybody to follow up to help us meet this goal that was launched at our banquet. The next year was our 25th anniversary in 2019. We pulled out all the stops, and I would just encourage you. You all probably have this mindset already. Whatever you do, we got to be doing it as if we're doing it for the Lord, right? So striving for excellence. And if you're doing a one night event, even if it's a 20 people at a chili cook off for your first gathering, do it with excellence. Think through everything very carefully and how it can flow and create an experience for people. But our 25th anniversary was a spectacular event, similar to I was remembering it as Amy, you were sharing about your latest experience. The next year, though, COVID hit. We'd been planning a banquet, scramble. We just turned this into a mail campaign and mailed people and emailed people. 2021, we had grown in our ability to do all these technological things, right? Because we were forced to, and we did an online banquet where, of course, everybody had their own food, but we did an online one night event with some follow up experiences possible, and we tried to structure it like we did a banquet. 2022, oh man, we did this hybrid thing. We were in the Northwest. We were starting in 2022 spring. There was still a lot of people that were scared to get together, and there was a lot of people that were like, "We need to get together." So we thought in our brainstorming, let's our ministry stretches across this Mid Valley area in Oregon. Let's do 2 sites simultaneously and live stream it. Oh my gosh. So anyway, I could tell you more about that one another time. I wouldn't recommend that. Actually, that was we won't be doing that again anytime soon. 2023, we ended up doing a mail and a really structured video component where we tried to capture the heart of the ministry through some video and testimonies like that. 2024, we were back to, well, it was our 30th anniversary then. So we did this full banquet deal. Our events coordinator calls banquets a wedding without a dress. Because that's how much work to do it well. Any of you who've been a part of a wedding, planning a wedding, gazillion details. And to do that well takes a lot of time and energy and planning. And there are people that can coach us through this and materials and help. But we decided the next year that we weren't going to do a banquet. We were just going to do a spring campaign again. So what we learned, so on the financial front, what we learned with that is that we had enough faithful donors that it was not that much of a difference with the spring giving that people had been in the pattern of. We had similar results most all of those years, even when we did the 2 sites and live streaming, crazy coordination. That was our lowest financial return. So I'm going to share some more things that we've learned in a moment, but just to give you an idea, we have tried lots of different things. I just wanted to compare these goals here in our experiences. we can glorify God through a banquet or a campaign, if done well. Prayerfully preparing and spiritual covering, yes, both. Casting a compelling vision for the future uh, obviously looks different from in person versus sprinkling out different communications and some video. Um, but uh, well, we'll see the differences in a moment. Both can be accomplished. They look very different. Celebrating ministry impact with stories, absolutely. Inspiring generous giving and meeting any goals that you have for fundraising. Yeah, you can feel the energy in a one night gathering, but you can reach more people who might not be able to come to a one night gathering. Uh, Geographically, maybe different, or even on our most successful gatherings with the feedback, kind of like what Amy said. This was an amazing evening. I'm never going to forget this kinds of feedback stirred for the cause, right? And wanting to get involved. Uh, a campaign misses that, but a banquet, only a, in the best gathering, only about a 25% of our total ministry partner list were able to experience that. So a campaign can reach more broadly. Strengthening donor relationships, yes. I gave four checks for the banquet. It just can be a powerful night. Campaign, you can do that too. It's different. Engaging new supporters, expanding your network. For a first-time person who experiences the community and the energy and the passion behind reach and ministry of marriages and families for Christ, that's hard to duplicate, right? But inviting guests to serve or get involved, yeah, you can do both in both settings. Raising awareness, advocacy for the cause, yeah. Ensuring strong follow-up and stewardship, still super important for both. Best if you're considering a campaign, clear start and end date, specific measurable goal. These are helpful things. An anchoring story or theme, including scripture that ties the message to the mission. Again, I mentioned some of these: letters, emails, social posts, video, handwritten thank you notes we did last year, just to everybody who's given in the last few years in any capacity. We had volunteers come in and send just thank you, just a thank you note. And you know how meaningful those can be. Enhancement ideas, branded visuals, anchoring scripture, a match or a challenge gift. Those are different. That I just want to make sure everybody is aware. A matching gift is something that, in its truest form, the organization will not receive unless other people give dollar for dollar or however it's set up. A challenge gift is we already have been given this money from some major donors, and they are challenging others to match them. And what we've found related to that is it's really important to be very clear and not mislead people who are learning about your organization. Just proceed with caution and be really intentional about how you communicate around that. So campaigns work best when staff or volunteer capacity for a full event is low, because remember, wedding without a dress. When focusing on broader or geographically dispersed audience, when inviting sustained reflection and giving over time. So I'm rushing through these. I'll make these available if anybody's interested. But creative alternatives. So the years we haven't, like this past year, we tried to get even more intentional about, okay, we're missing out on this really special energy gathering and connection time. What could we be doing that could fill in some of that, what we're missing from a banquet, and but still do it through a combined effort through a email and mail campaign. So we had a game night where all the people who were able to come to that loved it. Um, Great connection time, really good association, positive feelings with the ministry, right? Open houses, coffee chats with the board, donor appreciation brunches, prayer walks, writing thank you cards. These are some just ideas for ways that you could complement a mail campaign or video email campaign. So big picture reflections, learnings. Banquets and campaigns serve different goals with different strengths. Banquets are powerful for relational depth and momentum, moment-based giving. Well, it's moment-based giving too. Campaigns are powerful for reach, rhythm, and repeating the messages from various channels. Challenge gifts and matching gifts can each have a really motivating place for different people. Okay, take a screenshot of this because we're not going to be able to read through all these. I was just trying to think of, for you all who might be considering one or the other, these are some of the questions that I would encourage you to consider to help you think through what the Lord is leading you and your team into right now to increase awareness and stir excitement for what God's doing through the ministry He's called you to lead. These are some great questions that have been helpful to us over the years. And campaigns and banquets are not mutually exclusive. Like I said earlier, we've combined them in certain years, with the banquet being a kickoff or an anchoring event in the middle of a campaign. I'm seeing that it's 11 o'clock, and on the West Coast at least. Good morning to you all. This is my contact information, and there's probably maybe been some questions here. Steph, take it away.
Yeah. Yeah, so thank you so much for sharing with us today, Dave. And we did have some people in the chat asking if they could please get these slides. So we'd be happy if you would share those slides. And then next week in my follow-up email, I'll share both Amy and Dave's slides with you so that you can look those over and just consider those. But I think this was really great because it just allowed you to see the differences between a giving campaign and a fundraising dinner. And what's right for one community may not be right for the next. So and for your team. And so this is why we wanted to cover both so that you could assess which one is the most applicable to your circumstance. And so I know it's 1 o'clock. So if you have to jump off the call, that's totally fine. We want to respect your time, but we are going to have a time of Q&A if you want to stick around for that. So I'm just going to open the floor now for questions. So I see Bruce has a question. Go ahead, Bruce.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. So, I mean, we collect email addresses and contact information from everybody we can get in touch with. But are there other sources that you use that you can have a broader reach? Because, I mean, even though we're doing it, I don't know what the numbers are, but they're not going to be thousands of contacts.
So there are services out there that help connect nonprofits with potential donors. There are services like what's it called, Donor Search, that you can plug in the names of people that you do have, and it'll give you all kinds of information about them, and maybe they're giving $10 a month, and based on the information that this program can collect on this donor, they might have the capacity for much larger monthly gifts, or that can provide information like that. as far as just acquiring names, um, I think some people, you can buy lists of names. Uh, We've never gone that direction. We've tried to connect with area churches and just get in front of people as often as we can, and have a piece of paper for people to write down their name and email address if they'd like to have anybody follow up with more information or something. Um, we do some date nights where we've been collecting people's names who are just it's a broader reach into the community than our programs like Adventures in Marriage or Prep end up reaching. So we we collect emails through some of the community-wide events uh, that people sign up for. So that's one of the ways that we do it. There's probably a bunch of ways that people on this screen have thought of or seen other organizations do or have found success in, but that's how I would answer that question initially.
Well, I appreciate it. And that was kind of what I'm looking for is if there's any interesting ideas on how to accumulate that information other than the things that, most of us are probably doing anyways, just grabbing that information
Yeah,
anytime you're in contact with somebody. But
right,
are there any
right.
other sources out there that you're aware of? So that's helpful. Thanks.
Does anyone else know an answer to that?
I know what we do here in San Antonio. Every event that we're a part of, we always have our newsletter sign up sheet there. We have a QR code that goes on the screen for churches to use and that goes directly to our newsletter. And we have people sign up there, and that's how we get names and addresses that we can send out communications to. And there was just a re-engage networking event here in San Antonio, and we were there, had a presence there. We had our QR code there for them to sign up for our newsletter. So anything like that, Weekend to Remember is here in San Antonio this weekend. We'll have our newsletter sign up there so that we can gather those too. Amy?
We will often do sign up for our email and put your name in the hat to win a gift card. And so we'll get like a $20 gift card as a drawing and get a bunch of new names that way too. That way, if we're at an event where we're not in charge of registration, we can get the new attendees who come as well. I'm not big on mailing lists for people who don't know us because they're going to, accuse us of spam and all that stuff anyway. I mean, I really would rather be, and Becky's really good at this. She's done some presentations for you all. We're very intentional about segmenting our email list and making sure we're emailing people that are really interested in the cause. And we do have a pop out on our website now too, so that people do come for the very first time because, they visit you in the middle of the night. If you're not on email list, sign up here. So we've added that to our website this year as an easy way to pick up some of the searchers who we may never see.
Well, and I agree with that. I'm not interested in just buying a random email list. That's why I was curious about if anybody else had any other unique or interesting
Yeah.
ideas on how to do that. That's good. Thank you.
How many are on your mailing list now, Bruce?
Over eight.
I don't know, 800 to 1,000, something like that.
8 to 9.
That's not bad. That's good. I'm sure Becky would be happy to talk with you because she might even recommending segmenting that so you're not emailing everybody every time. So
Yeah, that
there's
would
some
be good
different
because
strategies on that.
we do have different events. We have our monthly luncheon or quarterly luncheons that go to certain people, and then the newsletter that goes to everybody, and then other, specific emails that might go out. So getting that segmented, I'd be interested in knowing how
Yeah, I'll ask
to
her and
do
I'll
that.
forward that to you. Because I even
Okay.
thought, well, what if we do this competition, where we say, forward this email to 10 people? And she said, no, don't do that. So that's a bad thing. So if you're thinking about that, I already asked the question for you. Don't do it.
Okay. Thank you.
We'll find out why. Okay.
All right. Anybody else have any questions or want to share any of your best practices on the subject? All right. It looks like that is going to wrap things up for us today. And I just want to say that we've had lots of good connections on this call. If there's anybody that you would like for me to get you in contact with, get your emails connected so that you can ask more questions, I'd be happy to do that. And as we wrap things up, I do want to just let you guys know again that we're so grateful for each and every one of you guys and the work that you're doing in your communities. It has an eternal impact. And so we are just so grateful to be on this mission together with all of you. And so next month, I want to make sure that we announce about next month. We're going to be celebrating 2025 and celebrating where we've been this year and where we're going next year. So be sure to mark your calendars for the third Friday of December at noon Central Time. And if you guys need anything in between, or if you have any feedback, or if you have any questions about today's event, please feel free to email me at steph@marriageinitiative.org. That's STEFF at marriageinitiative.org. I'd love to hear from you guys, and just keep an eye out next week for my follow-up email that will have the link to the recording of today's event, along with all the slide decks and any other helpful information that's come up that I may include in that email. So keep an eye out for that. We love you guys, and we're so grateful that you're part of the CMI family. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Bye.